We're a passionate group of people. We love what we do. We really get excited about things, but it's really about getting your customers excited. It's not about us. It's all about them and what's better for them. And you really have to focus on that to be successful.
Welcome to the Marketing Rapport, a podcast created for and by marketing professionals who seek to better understand their consumers and design unique, personalized experiences that stand out in today's market. In each episode, hosts from Verisk Marketing Solutions connect you to industry thought leaders, practitioners, and experts focused on improving B2C experiences through powerful data-driven insights. It's about how we connect with our consumers and where we can partner together to do it better. This is the Marketing Rapport.
All right. Welcome to the Marketing Rapport podcast. I am Tim Finnigan, and I run product marketing for Verisk Marketing Solutions. And just to give a quick little commercial about Verisk Marketing Solution is what our objective is we help power personalized interactions and and help our customers optimize market efficiency throughout the whole consumer life cycle. With that being said, I'm excited to have Jennifer Bell on the podcast today, and she's the Chief Marketing Officer of Let Us Entertain You Restaurants. And first of all, if you've never heard of Let Us Entertain You Restaurants, you're in for a treat, especially if you come to Chicago and some other cities too. They're the best restaurants around, and I'm sure Jen's going to tell us about that, and amongst a bunch of other things. So welcome to the podcast, Jen.
Hey, Tim. Thank you for having me today. It's great to be here.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for agreeing for me to hammer you with the hardest questions around. So just to sort of level set for our guests, our listeners, as CMO of Let Us Entertain You Restaurants, can you just give us an idea, not just your overall what you're responsible for, so maybe some day-to-day stuff that you're responsible for as well.
Sure. Yeah. A CMO is a title, but what really does that mean? So basically for us, I run and manage all aspects of marketing, and Let Us Entertain You is fortunate enough to have around 68 different brands. So there's a Let Us Entertain You brand, and then there's a store brand, right? So one of our restaurants is Summer House or Wildfire. And each one of those brands is actually marketed by a team of people as well. So I oversee and manage all of that. I also oversee our loyalty program, which is a very important part of our marketing, our gift card program, which is somewhat unusual for the chief marketing officer to run gift cards, but it's a very important part of marketing for us. Public relations, social media, design, web and app development. So my team acts like a little mini agency for our restaurants and for our brand. And we're so fortunate to have access to so many really rich content brands. We have a variation of guests and demographics. So it's a really difficult job. You can't really be an expert because it's forever changing. I always said, oh God, if we just had one brand, I could figure out our customer. That would be easy. But we have 68, plus we have a lettuce customer. So totally keeps me on my toes. It's always changing and it's a lot of fun. And I got to tell you, growing up in the restaurant industry, this was my dream job, to be able to do marketing for restaurants. Restaurant people are roll up your sleeve, get down and dirty type people. And we work hard and we have a certain energy and attitude. And literally, it really was my dream job to do this. So very, very lucky, fortunate, and grateful.
So let me add in on the gift card program. Huge fan of it. I'm just going to give people a key in there. So if you get $100, you get $25 for free. And what you do is you give the $100 gift card to someone else, and then you take the $25 for yourself. So, right.
Yeah. That's our holiday promotion. It's not all the time, but from November 1st through the end of December. Yeah, no. And again, that's marketing. I was talking to someone today and they were talking about gift cards, and for me, when it's the best form of marketing because you're thoughtful enough to give a gift of an experience at one of our restaurants to someone you care about. And so to me, that's the best marketing you can have, really, honestly.
So Jen, I want to get your thoughts on, you had mentioned your loyalty program. And when I think of loyalty programs, especially for you guys, it's a way to sort of personalize that experience for your customers and get them in and get them, everyone knows what a loyalty program is. Could you just talk a little bit about sort of the maturation of your loyalty program and maybe how you use data and personalization for an outcome, which I'm assuming the end consumer is always in mind. Like that's why you design it, but what's your sort of maturation in your ideas of the loyalty program?
Yeah, loyalty program, first of all, it's been in existence since I believe 1988, which is a very long-standing restaurant loyalty program. One of our founding partners, Bob Wattell, he was the mastermind behind the Lettuce and Rotini loyalty program. And Bob was a huge mentor of mine. And we had a really interesting relationship. At first, he was really hard on me when I was young. And then I kind of proved myself. And then he and I were very tight. And all the way up through his retirement, unfortunately, he's passed away, I promised Bob that I would take what he started and make it the best we can and just to have this program live for a long time. So that being said, when I took over loyalty in 2014, RJ and Jared Melman, who are sons of Rich Melman, our founder, but we're taking over sort of an aspect of our business. We're really big into evolving, innovating, and technology. So one of the things we looked at was, oh my God, to enroll in our loyalty program, it's pen and paper still. And then we were looking at like the restaurants we were opening. And at the time it was Hub 51, Bob City, and these are really youthful brands. But yet the average age that someone was when they enrolled in our program was 47. So we thought about, why aren't we getting younger people in? And so we noticed two things. Number one, it was a paid program back then. And so you paid $25 on your first visit, you got $10. On your second visit, you got $10. And on your third visit, you got $10. So you got 30 back. And it was brilliant. And this was Bob's idea because all of the data shows is that 3 is our magic number. Once you get someone to 3 visits, they become loyal. And there's hundreds of studies that support this. So that skin in the game paid program was smart. But what it was doing is it was deterring younger people from enrolling to the program. So we kind of recognized that. So we made it a free program. Then we were like, okay, they're definitely not going to show a card or, enroll with pen and paper.
Like the punch card, right?
Exactly. So we've got to find something. So at that time, it was an app. And so we went and we developed an app. Well, those of you that have any experience about developing app, it's very expensive. And we looked into a lot of these white label solutions that we could maybe take advantage of. But we're 68 brands in all these different markets, all these different price points and all these variables that no one size fits all app would work for us. So we custom developed an app, which was a huge leap of faith. It was major investment. And we launched it in 2015. I will never forget. So Coke gave us money to do a small app that we had about 7,500 people in. So when we launched our new app, we had 7,500 people. And it was February 2nd, 2015. Never forget the day. And we were like, oh my God, here we go. We put this whole marketing campaign behind it. And by the end of the year, we had our average age went from 47 to 42. So we got the younger people in. We tripled the amount of people that were enrolling from years prior. And then we had about 400,000 people that downloaded the app that year, which was really hugely successful for us. And we saw some incremental business. Now, the second half of that question was personalization. So now that we have this app, right, we have a responsibility. And what do we do with that app? And what do we do with the data and information for our customers to make the loyalty program tailored to them? Well, I can tell you that the restaurant industry is not good at aggregating data. It's just not an easy thing. Everything's siloed. So it's difficult, and our customers are difficult too, right? So you would think there's a lot of cross sell. You would think that the average person went to many brands. Well, in actuality, the average frequent diner goes to 1.9 brands. So not even two. And so we really had to get creative, and we had to see how people were operating. We had to formulate promotions that was targeted. Of course, our different markets made a difference, trying to enroll people and really trying to strengthen what it meant to be part of a Let Us Entertain You umbrella brand, and understanding the value of all the store restaurants too, the specific brand. So we're still testing and learning and understanding what works, but we're about to launch a new app literally in 2 weeks. And the whole app is about personalization. So what we learned is that the existing app was about, okay, here are the things we think you're interested in. The new app is, here's all the things you are interested in, right? So it's your name, it's your account balance, it's the restaurants you've made reservations at, it's your favorites. It's all about you and how we can make it easier for you and more frictionless experience with our restaurants, and to create better hospitality using our technology. So we are never going to be done. And the roadmap of features that we are intending to add is long, but it's exciting and it's fun. And our frequent diner customers are just amazing. And they give us so much rich feedback, and they're very vocal, and we listen and we try to, do better. And so we've got a long way to go, but we're getting stuff out there, and then we're going to keep on adding and moving forward.
So Jen, when you were talking about the 7,500 to 400,000 for the loyalty program when you got the app, I remember we first met, you talked to my marketing class, and you were like, yeah, we just got to 100,000. It was like, because I think like that was the magic number. We needed that. So it's great that you're even better than that.
Yeah, it was. I'm telling you, it was so nerve-wracking. I will tell you that ignorance is so bliss when it comes to stuff like that, because if I would know what I know today, then I don't know if I would have had the courage to do what we did. It was crazy. But I didn't really know what I was getting into, and I went all in. And sometimes I think that's better, right?
Right. And you said a couple key things where when you said it was what you thought or what the business thought the consumer was interested in, but using all that data and personalization, it really turned around to what the consumer is important to. So in my long windup, I noticed that on your app, and as I think of like the apps that I like to follow and get me involved are like Marriott Bonvoy and United, where right away they show me what are my points, what do I need to do to get to the next level, what's exactly. It's all about me. And I like that too. And it makes it easy. Like, okay, hey, what are my things? And then I can go search for restaurants or places to stay or
exactly.
things like
and
that.
then
so
you can discover and engage. Yeah. Yeah. So
and a
like
couple
for
things
us,
that you said that would be,
this new app that we're doing is doing just that. And what we realized is, wow, what you think you love about your brand and your restaurants is not necessarily what customers tell you they love, right? So you've got to take some of the emotion out of it and really understand what the data set is showing you and really act upon it.
And that's got to be hard too, because you've got so many different voices coming in. So I even like just thinking of my own stuff is that if I'm presenting something that's my idea or my project and someone's like, hey, I've got some ideas on that. And you're like, wait a second, I don't want to change it. So it must be difficult to do that when you've got so many things coming in.
It is difficult, but it's so critical. And I think that's the best piece of feedback I could give you is really listen to the customers. And sometimes, like I said, I think we're a passionate group of people. We love what we do. We really get excited about things, but it's really about getting your customers excited. It's not about us. It's all about them and what's better for them. And you really have to focus on that to be successful.
So to get some of the information, do you do anything like surveys where you try to like proactively get that info?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've done surveys in the past. What we do now more frequently is what we call user testing. So we now work with some developers who will do some research, market research on our app and do some research about our customers, but then they'll also talk to them and they'll show them different things and they'll see what they respond to. They'll give them a version of the app and tell them to play around and to do different tasks. And we see how they interact. One of the key learnings we had is this is, again, how you think as a marketer and how your customers think differently. So one of the things that in our world, we have loyalty reward dollars that you earn from dining. So you get points, and then every 150 points, you get a $10 reward. Then we also have, as you mentioned, that gift card promotion, right? So we have gift cards that you'll purchase, then that holiday bonus that you got, that $25, we have that. We have donations, we have comp certificates. But to the customer, all of these things are different to us. But to the customer, you know what it is? They're forms of payment. So it doesn't matter if it's called a reward dollar or a gift card. To them, it was all needed to be put in one place. And so we created a wallet, right? Which is all the forms of payment. And it was so like, oh my God, how stupid are we? Like, how did we miss that? That was so, it was overwhelming calling them all these things and having them separate. And we thought we were really clear on what it was, but keep it simple. To the customer, it's just money off my check. And this is like what I want to know how to do and to access it easily. And it was a really great lesson and really like an aha moment for me and the team.
So let's pivot a little. So I want to talk about like you as a CMO, and you had mentioned a little of this of sort of your marketing tech stack, like all these things that you're trying to do. You mentioned the app, but you've got all these probably technology platforms to help your business do better. Like how as a CMO do you wade through that? Like, and you and I have talked about digital transformation, in the past, but touch on that. Like for our people that are like selling these services, how do they better reach you as a CMO and get in front of you? One, and then the second one is like, what are some of those platforms that you're using?
So it's a really good question, especially for a company like ours. So when I first started, I've been with Lettuce since 1999. So when I first started, it was very entrepreneurial. So Rich Malman, he loved that about Lettuce. That's why we're not the same concept, with 1,000 locations. He wanted people to really express their passions and what they really enjoyed about the industry. But what we realized is everyone was kind of doing their own thing, that from a technology perspective, we did not have a tech stack or a platform which was standardized across the enterprise. So we had 3 or 4 different POS systems. We had 3 or 4 different reservation platforms. We had our app. We had email marketing. We had things all over the place. And so, of course, we hopped on the bandwagon and did what we call the digital transformation, right? So I would say that the app started a lot of that, right? So it really allowed us to have a channel to sort of aggregate things. And then it made us realize the value of everything and all those data points being in one place. But we've had a team do several what we call RFPs, and you're probably very familiar with that, where it's a request for proposal. So we give you a set of requirements of what we want, and then you bid on this, right? And so we've done it for guest management, which is reservations. We've done it for POS. We've done it for carryout and delivery platforms. And we're still working. We've done it for our general ledger, our HR systems, you name it. So digital transformation, I will tell you, is a little scary, right? Because what I didn't realize is just how it created some fear and anxiety within the ecosystem of our teams. Because what some people heard was, oh, you're going to use technology to take away my job. And that's not what it was intended to, right? It was just supposed to improve your life, right? So one of the things I learned very, very early on in the process is to get the team involved in part of the conversation, to dispel any of those fears that making us more powerful and efficient is a good thing. It's something that we want to work towards because it's going to free up time for you to do more impactful things. Because when we leverage and standardize this technology, there's power in that. There's things that we can do that will allow us to layer on some pretty cool features. We're exploring things like VIP reservations and being able to have a concierge that will have access to everything at Lettuce. And, those are things that weren't ever possible before, but are possible now. And I think technology, I've always been such a proponent of technology. I think it does improve our lives, but I want to use it in thoughtful ways to create better hospitality, because hospitality is the business I am in. Better hospitality for our customers, and that is essential. I don't want to use technology because it's new and cool and that's what everyone's doing. I want to have a thoughtful purpose behind it. And so, I really think that if I can give anybody advice in going into, finding the right vendors and is get your team involved and do your research and make them part of the conversation and really strengthen and have lots of conversations about what you want, what your desired outcome is. And then listen too. Like there were some vendors that we usually just put the RFP out there and we we tell as many people as we can because we want people to sort of send in the, proposal. And then we narrow them down and we meet with them. And some vendors that we totally didn't expect to perform well were outstanding. And then some people who were like, we definitely got to talk to them, didn't perform very well. It was very, very eye-opening to me. And the process.
And Jen, wait, what do you mean by didn't perform very well? Presenting the.
Both in presentation and in proposal. So, when we set the requirements, I think, we're really careful to ask for things that we really need. And we actually kind of score on based on really nice to have versus absolutely essential. And some of the bigger players, didn't want to meet some of the needs that were our really core needs. Yeah. And there were some really key, guest management services that we were like, we love this platform, but couldn't get some of the features that some of the other platforms were offering.
I love what you said about, and maybe I should do a whole different podcast about leadership learnings, because I think it would be so good. Because I mean, it seems so simple, right? To empower your employees to help make decisions. And, if they're on board and not being told what to do, and they're actually empowered to come up with some of what we need to do, you're going to get more, employees that care about what the end output is. And if they're more entrenched, they're not looking to go somewhere else. So
yeah, they're happier. I think it's so important. So one of the things that when I took over again, I had a mentor as well. Well, I started in PR and her name was Sue Salzman, and she was an incredible publicist and her background was in PR. And I learned so much from her. And then I had already mentioned we had a founding partner, Bob Wattel. And so Sue ran one half of marketing, Bob ran the other. We'd get together and we'd talk and, it was great, but it was just kind of how things were going and we were doing our thing. They were doing their thing. And then when I took over, it was really interesting to me how some of the best ideas came across the pond, going to the other side and getting people some of our PR teams had great ideas about loyalty and some of our gift card people had great ideas about social media and just being able to take down the silos, take down the walls, ask for collaboration and encourage an environment to have that was magical. And just the energy that it created, the ideas that were created, the fact that, like you said, again, I talked about skin in the game with that pain, but when someone sees that they had an idea and that we work to make it come to life, they are invested and they're great employees. And that is, it's just so wonderful to watch, to see the energy and the enthusiasm.
Yeah, and it sounds like you recognize your people too, because recognition is a currency. It should be part of the whole package. Like your base
Really
is this,
should.
your bonus is this, and you get this recognition if you do well. So I think that's great. I'm a little jealous of your mentors. Like my mentor, when I was a sales rep, I went up to my mentor. I'm going to give his name, so in case anybody knows him, you can yell at him for me. His name's Jim Ramiresma. And I was a struggling sales rep, and I go to him, Jim, I'm struggling with sales and how to overcome objections. And he's like, Tim, maybe sales isn't for you. I'm like, wait a second. You're supposed to lift me up. Like, don't you know what I should have forwarded him a mentoring book or something.
That was his way to light a fire under you, I bet.
There you go. So Jen, as we sort of wrap up here, I want everyone to sort of hear your take on sort of a different part of your job, and that's the Windy City Smokeout, which is part of what you guys do. If you just let everyone know, sort of talk about your 21-hour days during the Windy City Smokeout.
Yeah, well, first, I have two people that work with me in marketing that are incredible with the Smokeout. First, Jason Hollenbeek, who's our partner and creative director. The logo, and I'll tell you what the Smokeout is, but the whole festival, all the visuals is done by Jason. And then second, we have the marketing director for the Smokeout. Her name is Michelle Funk, and she has just done an extraordinary job building the team and getting everybody ready. But the Smokeout is a beast. It's great. It's 19 barbecue vendors, it's craft beer, and it's some of the best country music you'll ever hear or see. And there's several operating partners that make it happen. But it's super fun. It's 4 days in July and it's mid-July. And this year, kind of going in, I think we're pretty much, all the tickets are pretty much sold out. I know we are sold out for Zach Bryant on Thursday. And I know that it's just an intense day. And what I love about the Smokeout is it's a really great representation on the great people of Let Us Entertain You, because everybody and anyone in this organization helps out. And some help out in huge ways, some help out in little ways, but we're all working together. And it's like a day or in a weekend where you kind of get down and dirty with your fellow coworkers, and it's fun. And although it's hard work and although it's, backbreaking labor sometimes, but it's also really wonderful to see everybody come together. And it's one of my greatest joys is just kind of standing back and watching the teams work together. And you just see just how wonderful our people are. And I've always said the best part of Let Us Entertain You is that we hire the best people. And these are people you just want to be with day to day. And it's really exciting.
And what I think when you talk about best people, I know you have a great internship program and you start them, get that experience and bring them along. So here's my mini commercial for Let Us Entertain You. If you're in Chicago and the area, check out the app. And Jen, what's the app under? Just Let Us Entertain You. I have it on my phone if anybody wants to see it.
Yeah, it's Let Us Eats, all one word. And July 17th this year, we'll be launching our new app. And August 1st is our first gamification in the new app, which is called Scratch Off, which you could win up to from 2 times to 5 times points. It's really fun. And yeah, download the app. And one of the things that I have to practice what I preach is I love feedback. So anybody listening, if you have feedback, you can reach me and send it to us. We want to hear from you. It's what our customers tell us that means the most to me. I used to tell all the front of the house servers that they are the best salespeople that we have. And, you mentioned you're in sales, Tim, and every time I would go talk to servers, I would ask them if they had sales experience and they would not raise their hands. And then I would be like, no, every single one of you is. Like you are talking to the guests. I don't get direct interaction to customers day to day. You do. And they give us the best feedback, the best advice, and customers do too. So we're really open to it. And we always want to be better and to make their lives easier too.
Yeah. And thanks for that, Jen. And thanks for being on the podcast. And I have tried to use your name getting into restaurants. It does not work. I don't know if you've flagged me or your name means nothing. I'm like, I know. Jen Bell, anybody? Nothing?
I don't know who she is.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
That's funny.
I would rank Summer House as my favorite, then Hub 51, then Bub City, but it's great. It's great having you on. I love some of the stuff that you've talked about, your leadership learnings and how to manage through digital transformation and your marketing tech stack, and ultimately always having the end consumer in mind. So I think that's a great message. And thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Tim. It's always good to see you. It's fun. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Marketing Report. This show is brought to you by Verisk Marketing Solutions, an organization created to help CMOs and their partners improve the reach, timing, relevance, and compliance of every consumer engagement. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the Marketing Report wherever you get your podcasts, and check out the show notes for more information.